What's up, you guys? This is Devin with CenturyFX Studios, back with another video, and today we're going to be talking about why you should not be using auto ISO with high-speed sync on your flash. Now, high-speed sync says you're using a flash with the ability to communicate with your camera at higher shutter speeds. Shutter speeds like 1/1000th of a second, 1/4000th, 8000, things of that nature. Now, you're able to do this, but sometimes your camera is not ready for all of these variables, and so when you go to auto ISO and you have cut off its ability to use shutter speed and aperture, sometimes those things conflict with one another, especially if you're in like an automatic or program mode. Especially a semi-automatic mode, you're gonna get things that are not complying with some things that you want, like an even exposure. You're going to have to make the camera shut up and manually trim that ISO value, because the last thing you want is your ISO value to be shooting up to the roof, going to 32,000 whatever ISO 1 million for those new D800s and D5s, D6s that you get. You don't want it to be shooting all the way up to ISO 1 million, and then by the time you look back at your camera, it's metering for something else. Now it's at ISO 400. And then you got a flash on your camera. The last thing you want is your ISO to run free range on your image. Why? Because if your ISO values get too high, that's going to introduce all kinds of noise, all kinds of irreparable damage to your image. You're going to damage skin tones. You're going to damage colors that you don't want to damage, especially when you're using your flash. Like I said before, you have to think about practical application. Usually when you're using high-speed sync, you're using it with a flash in a situation where that flash has to be close to a subject. If you overexpose that image or any digital image, you're going to be burning information that you need, like skin tones and things of that nature. And I'm always working out this with my flash, but you have to understand the importance of it. And in practical applications, said you're probably going to be shooting a portrait of somebody, who sees their self every day, and probably going to be a client, a friend, a customer, somebody that you know, and you're like, I don't want to mess this up. Typically, you're not doing high-speed sync remotely, but sometimes you can be. But I'm talking about literally, you're gonna be taking pictures of somebody else. You don't want to mess this up by your ISO ramping up so high, and now ISO values can go to like 500,000, 1 million. That's the last thing you want to worry about, is that independent variable doing whatever it wants to. I advise you to use manual ISO, manual mode on your camera, and then trim it as you see fit, because those minute or small adjustments that you make to your exposure will be seen every time you make it. Then you can make an adjustment here, there, everywhere, bang, bang, bang. Eventually, you're going to have total control of your camera. Total, almost, I would say 80% of your, 85, 95% of your shots will come out almost exactly the way you want to. Now, when you're outside, that percentage is going to skew because, of course, the sun is going up and down. But if you're a super advanced photographer and you can actually go from stop to stop, 1/3, I need 1/3 here, 1/3 there, and change your exposure triangle exactly the way you want to, then you're going to have a way more consistent result. You're going to be more professional to everybody. You're going to look like that advanced photographer, and you're going to get exactly what you want out of the camera. I'm done with CenturyFX Studios, guys. Don't be stuck in the situation where you're sitting over there with your camera, your flash, and you're on auto ISO, and your exposure is jumping up and down. It's pretty much going to shoot through the roof most of the time, especially if you're inside. You don't want to be on auto ISO. You want to be like, at your lowest ISO that you can, getting the best results you can with your foreground and background exposure. I'm done with CenturyFX Studios, and stay tuned for the next video, guys.